Okay, in this demonstration, I'm going to turn this raw acrylic ring that was cut on a bandsaw into this rather nice part for the Stirling engine. This is the Displacer ring, and so it has two grooves in it for an O-ring, one on this side and the other on this side. It also has these reliefs that a machine screw will sort of be in this area when we assemble the engine. So there's 12 reliefs that will be cut with a drill as well. Okay, and we're going to make it on this machine here. This is a Haas SL20 CNC lathe with a APL, or automatic parts loader, attachment. So first things first, we're going to go around to the back of the machine. And we're going to turn the machine on.
Possible, fellas? Okay.
And then we're going to turn the power on to the machine. So press power on. Okay, so this machine actually has an auto door, so we actually have to open it up and then close it prior to the power up restart. So it says cycle door here, so we'll cycle the door and then we'll close the door, and then we'll clear any alarms by pressing reset, and then we'll press power up restart. And so the V axis will move to the home position. That's the parts bed. The parts loader will move in the W and the U direction to home. And then the tool turret will move to its home position as well. Once that's all done, we've now successfully completed the power up restart, and it no longer says running, so I know that it's complete. Okay, so on this controller here, I want to move the V axis forward so that I can load the parts onto it. And I do that with the control of this piece right here. So I can pick it up and or I can just leave it in the slot. So it's already on the V axis, so I can move it in the positive direction, and that will bring the bed forward. So it doesn't actually appear to move, and what I have to do is actually go into manual mode. So there's a whole folder system here that I can select between. I have to go into the manual mode and I have to press right enter. So that's that button down here. Now that I'm in here, it says that I'm jogging the V axis because V is already selected right here. And so I will move it in the positive direction like this, clockwise direction. And you'll see from here that the bed will come forward. So I'm actually going to make two parts today to show you how this machine works. So I have my raw acrylic rings. I'm going to put them in locations 1 and 2. You can see there's up to 4 locations marked out on this table here. So if you were doing 4 parts, you would load all of these places. But it will do this part and then it will do this part. And notice here that I have not set it up quite straight, so I'll have to adjust that to make sure that everything is located. So I'm just putting the ring in between these 3 screws, just like that. So this 4th screw is actually part of this ring up here. So they're not touching the screws, they're just evenly spaced between the screws. Okay, you can sort of follow, there's a traced mark on the paper right here as well. Okay, so now that I've done that, I need to get out of the manual mode, and I'll press cancel. And I need to go into the APL setup screen. So I'll use these arrows here to move to the correct folder. Okay, so now I'm on the APL setup, so I'll press right enter. Okay, so if I press enter again to get into the grid pattern, we can view this screen, and we'll see if we need to make any adjustments here. So I want to make sure that this screen has number of operation is set to 1. Work type is set to 0. Number of stacked parts is set to 1. Number of U positions is set to 2. Number of V positions is set to 2. And number of parts is set to 4. Okay, and then these dimensions are negative 6.475 for the distance between U, and that appears to be the same, and then negative 6.67 between V, and that also appears to be the same. Okay, so this screen is good. I do not need to make any changes there, so I'll press cancel, and I'll move over to load to chuck. So this is the setup for the drop-off location for the chuck. For the automatic parts loader up here, to come down, the door is an auto door, so it opens up automatically and then drops the part off. So I want to make sure that it's dropping the part off in the right location. Okay. So I should read, these pages should be exactly the same. So for the rest of the video, you can just refer to this book to make sure that these positions are exactly the same. And they appear to be. Okay, and then finally we'll cancel that and we'll go to unload from chuck. Okay, so it says the top 4 positions are not used, so those we'll just leave as is. And then we just need to check the U pickup, the W pickup, the U store, and the W store positions. And those appear to all be the same as the book here, in the picture in the book. So we'll press cancel, and then we'll go over to run mode. And I believe we need to make some changes on this page. So it should be running operation 17, which it is. And it's going to run program 9713, which it is, current program. And then operation 2 is set to 0 and current part number is set to 4. And in the book here it says 0. So we're going to navigate to 4 and turn that to a 0. Just by using the arrow buttons here. So all we have to do is press 0 down here and then enter. And so that becomes a 0. Pickup, if I use the down arrow, we'll turn that to a 0 as well, as it says in the book here. So I'll put that to 0, and we'll press enter. That's changed to a 0, and then we'll go to the 3, we'll turn that to a 0, and we'll press enter, and that will become a 0 as well. Okay, so now that we've done that, we will press cycle start. But before we do that, I want to make sure we press 5% rapid, because this machine moves incredibly fast, so fast that it actually drops parts, slams into parts, doesn't put the part on the chuck properly, things like that. So it actually needs to run slow. So we'll move it at 5% rapid. Okay, and then 5% rapid shows up there, and then we'll press cycle start. So the door opens. The table moves backwards to go underneath the automatic parts loader. Automatic parts loader moves down, and it's going to pick up part 1. Coming across. If you want to see what 100% rapid looks like, it looks like this. Okay, that's a little fast for me, so I'm gonna turn it back to 5%. If it runs 100% at this point, it definitely just comes down too fast and then comes over too far, and it does not act too gently. Now, this is a critical step. It appears that it picked up the part just beautifully. Sometimes it'll pick up on an angle, so the ring will actually be kind of sitting on an angle. But we'll be able to tell whether this part needs adjustment or not when the door closes and the chuck starts spinning. Okay. So that does not have a strong wobble, but if we open the door, the chuck will stop spinning and the turret will stop moving this way. It was moving this way. And I just want to look at this black line here. So the edge of the part should be somewhere in between the black line. And it looks like it's just out of this black line up here. So I actually want to move it down. And so I'm going to get a hammer and just adjust the part ever so slightly. Okay, so now it looks like the back of the part is within the black line, consistently around. Now, it looks like it's more in the middle of the black line on the bottom than it does the top, so I'm just going to move the top more towards the middle of the black line. Same with this edge here. Okay, so that looks fairly consistent. So when we close the door, we should be able to see that wobble. It should be somewhat less. And we just have to press cycle start. Okay, so that wobble is virtually gone, which is good. Meanwhile, this is going to cut and drill holes into the part. Meanwhile, the automatic parts loader is moving towards the second part, and it's going to come down and pick this part up. So unfortunately with this machine, the rapid motions on the inside of the machine are linked to the rapid motions of the parts loader. But it's fine if it runs slow, because this operation here takes much longer than going and picking up the parts. So there's loads of time to pick up the parts while this is machining. So what we're doing is we're facing the part. We're just going to take off that rough saw cut front and back edge. It already did the back. It's doing the front now. The turret is going to move out of the way and do a tool change to the grooving tool. Okay, so it's going to do the front groove first. If we just open up the door here, you can see what that tool looks like. It's actually it's got the cutting surface right here, and it actually drives that right into this edge, or back here, as it's turning. Okay, so now it's starting to cut. And now it's made a cut to make that O-ring groove. So it's going to do that on the other side, and then a drill is going to come across there. And actually, this tool, that drill that you see there, has live tooling, and so that's actually going to spin, and the chuck is going to be in the same place, but you'll see it in a moment. I'm just going to speed up the rapid motion to move it in. Moved it to 25% rapid, which is fast enough for this demonstration. So the drill is now turning, and the chuck indexes to the correct location. Okay, this is the last cut, so I'm going to turn the rapid motion. I'm going to turn the rapid motion down to 5%, just to ensure that when this door opens and the APL drops the part into the chuck, or I shouldn't say drops, but loads the part into the chuck, that it doesn't move too quickly. Now, stand clear of the door. There's not much of a warning. There will be a beep. But if you're standing there, obviously you can be hit with this handle or something like that. So, that turns around. It's going to come and grab the part here. Door is going to close and it's going to blow all of this, you know, excess plastic out of the way. And we'll see how this drop off is. So the acrylic tube diameter, inside diameter and outside diameter changes, and that can impact how it drops off the part. So it looks like it dropped off not too badly, but we will see once it starts rotating. We'll be able to see how badly it wobbles. Okay, so that's wobbling a little bit. And again, we just need to inspect where on this black line is the part. So it doesn't appear to be over the black line on this side. Whereas down here, it appears to be over the black line. So obviously that one would need to be tapped in place. Now, if it drops it off too far in, we need to come up with a creative way to pop it out. And usually I put a plate in between the part and then I hit the top of the plate to create this sort of lever effect to push the part out. And when that occurs, so I'll just do that now. So this needs to come in, and I just want to come over the black line just consistently around the whole chunk. I'll check for the wobble now. So it's wobbling just a little bit, so we'll see how we can adjust this thing further. Okay, so that's ready to go. That looks really nice, actually. And now the APL is going to come across and drop off the part. To, you guessed it, location 1. Okay, so eventually it'll pick up another part. This will complete. It'll bring that part back over, and it'll come and pick up this part and drop off the new part, and then go put the second part back, and so on and so forth. And so that is how the Haas CNC lathe with the automatic parts loader and the live tooling, the live drill, operates.